So I just recorded a shop update video like 3 days ago. I think that video just came out the day that I'm recording this video, and somehow everything's already changed completely. Those of you familiar with my shop may notice there's something missing here. It hasn't actually left my shop yet, but my office mill is on its way out. Moving that machine let me put the saw a lot closer to the mill so I didn't have to walk as far to cut more material. That saw used to live over here, but I had to make room for the new robot. I have been talking about this, I think, for 2 or 3 years, that I wanted a robot to load the Tormach. Actually, I probably have been talking about that since before the Tormach, and it has finally happened. Guys, meet Mongo, my new robot. Mongo is a UR5, meaning he has a 5 kilogram capacity, which is, I don't know, 12 or 15 pounds, something like that. He was made in 2016, but he only has 18 hours of cycle time on him. Apparently he was bought by a paper company to unload like a notepad making machine or something like that. But when they put him into production, they found it was a little bit too slow to keep up with notepad making or whatever they did. And so they stuck him on a shelf. And on that shelf, he waited for a long time before he was rescued by the maintenance man, who then took him home, and then he sat in a basement for a number of years before finding his way to me. Mongo cost me $4,000 plus a 2-day road trip to Iowa. And that is a heck of a deal for this robot. It is old, it's 2016, it's 10 years old, but the fact that it only has 18 hours on it is astonishing. Like, literally, some of these robots could run 18 hours in a single day. If you look at like Harrison from Precision Ingenuity with his Versa-built UR robot system, that thing easily runs 18 hours in a day. He did come with this gripper on it. I don't know anything about this gripper. It has these big claws bolted on that are obviously gonna have to go. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to reuse this one at all. I might have to make something custom. There doesn't seem, oh, maybe there is a brand name on it. It's an SMC gripper. Okay, so at least it's a name brand one. That'll be nice. But I haven't hooked up to the air. I don't really know if it's gonna have enough force. I may have to get like one of the shunt grippers. The control cabinet is clean and bare bones. There's no solenoids, there's no valves, there's nothing that came with it. Just the straight control panel. So let's go ahead and wake Mongo up. We'll get him some exercise and we'll talk about our plans going forwards. Okay, Mongo, it's time to get up. There we go. Well, hey there, buddy. This corner's getting a little bit tight. Let's go somewhere where I have more room to film. All right, let's see if we can teach Mongo a new trick. This is his favorite toy. We'll teach him how to play with it. I'll show you what I'm doing on the screen later. I mean, this isn't a tutorial. This is just me playing with my new friend. New program, move. We need to choose his starting point now, which we should be able to do by just moving him. All right, so right about there. And then we'll do a new waypoint and another one. All right, and last one. So let's see if this works or if it tries to crash. So I can move it back to its starting position. Go, Mongo, go. Ooh, that was close. There we go, good boy. Can we do it faster? Go fast. I might be able to go faster than this. This is 100% on the little slider. Right now it's doing a hard stop at each of its waypoints. I think I can add a radius to make it smoother. Let me try that. I definitely don't know enough about this stuff to do like a tutorial yet, but let's just go over what I did to get here. So my program is just 4 different waypoints. You saw me set each one of those waypoints individually. So if we like wanted to go to this waypoint 3, I believe I can just hit move robot here, and then it'll let me hold this down as like a safety to go to that waypoint 3. Yeah. And then if I want to, I can change the waypoint, and I can either hit the button that's on the back of this that lets me drag the robot around freely like you saw earlier, or I can move each one of the joints individually, or I can use these buttons here. So like this one up and down will move the tool straight up, move the tool straight up, and move the tool straight down. I can also use these buttons to, jog based on the tool. I can use these to jog based on the joints. Once all of the joints are where they need to be, you just hit OK to save that position. And now when you run through the cycle, it'll go back to whatever point you saved. So I should be able to hit play again, and it's going to go back to the starting point, which I'm in the way of. We'll hold the button down. It'll go back to the starting point. Uh-oh. Mongo, no. I think I can hit manual here and move him up, put his tape back in, move him down, hit OK, and then go back to auto. There we go, Mongo. Now I can just hit the play button, and hopefully we don't have another case of something weird happening. Oh, no, Mongo, no, Mongo. Can I just pull the tape out? And without the tape, he should be good again. You guys want a Mongo point of view tour of the shop? Bye. No, why are you going backwards? I guess that kind of makes sense, because if you're like going in a door, you want to come back out that same door instead of bashing through the... Mongo. So there might be a setting that I can change to make it do a full loop instead of like in and out, back and forth. But I don't know how to do that yet. Okay, I think I have played around with the robot enough for now. And we need to talk about some of the logistics that are going to be involved in making this thing useful in my shop. First of all, I need to get better at programming it. For example, I did not tell it to do this, but apparently this is what we're doing right now. So there's still some quirks I don't quite understand about the robot. Okay, so let's talk logistics of implementing this workshop onto the Tormach. There is quite a bit of work that needs to be done. First of all, there's workholding. And for workholding, I am planning on using these Aroa vices. There's a reason why I put this Aroa system on the machine like 2 years ago, and it was always because I planned on using this robot. So I'll have a bunch of op1 work holding, I'll have a bunch of op2 work holding, and then there will be a shelf of these that the robot can just pick them up, put them in the machine, and run. That will be a relatively easy problem to solve. It is just a matter of throwing money at the problem. To make this system efficient and usable, I probably need at least 20 vices, maybe 30 or 40 to really do what I want to do. Okay, I'm done using Mongo as a tripod now. I apologize if that made you seasick. This part here is going to be the more difficult part. How does Mongo talk to the 1500, which, I don't know, should we call him Carl for now? How do we get Mongo to talk to Carl? That is the question. And I think it is a very solvable question. The problem, if anything, is there's actually too many possible solutions. So because PathPilot runs off of Linux CNC, we can run Python programs. And with Python, we can do basically anything we want. Mongo, despite being a velociraptor, also runs Python. So I think it should be possible to get Carl and Mongo talking via traditional computer networking systems. What that would let us do is set up a queue system, either controlled by Carl the mill or by Mongo the robot. I don't think it matters really too much which one's in charge, although another option is to have a third computer that is controlling both the mill and the robot. We'll call that one Donut. So Donut will be a computer that just handles the queuing, and then Donut will tell Carl and Mongo which program to run when. So the hardware is pretty easy. It's just a matter of throwing money at the problem. The software side is going to have to be entirely custom. There is not anything off the shelf right now that will do pallet scheduling on a Tormach, and we're going to have to build that. Fortunately, I know a lot of smart people. I'm not a great coder. I know a little bit, but I'm friends with people who know how to do this kind of stuff, including people at Tormach who really understand PathPilot. Now, PathPilot is just a Linux computer, and this Linux computer can run Python. Do you know who else can run Python? Mongo, despite being a velociraptor, not a snake. Mongo can run Python, and if you can run Python in both places, that means you can communicate using traditional computer networking technologies. So getting them to talk shouldn't be too big of an issue. The question is, what limitations are there running Python on this controller? So for example, can Python load the correct program into this controller and then press cycle start all on its own? I don't know if Linux CNC has that capability or not, or if it's turned off for safety reasons. I just don't know. So that is something that we will have to figure out. That also brings up an architecture problem of who gets to be in charge of the party. Do we have Carl the mill to make all of the calls? Do we have Mongo, tell Carl which program to run? Does Donut get to run the show and schedule the different programs? I'm not sure which makes the most sense yet. The simplest method might be for Carl the mill to do all of the scheduling work. But I'd prefer to do less messing around with core Linux CNC stuff, core PathPilot stuff, as much as possible. And I think programming on Mongo is just going to be more annoying than doing it somewhere else. So I'm leaning towards having a third machine in the loop here, or third computer in the loop, which will act as some sort of command and control server, and it'll tell Mongo which pallet to load when. It'll tell Carl which program to run when, and that way the only thing that Mongo and the mill need to interact is a ready signal. And I can do that right now as is with no added hardware or software. The machine has that capability built in to wait for a go signal from the robot. The robot has an ability to send a go signal when it's done loading. So that shouldn't be too difficult to figure out that logic. And then we just need to put all of the difficult programming, scheduling stuff in Donut, our third-party computer, which will probably be something like a Microsoft Surface that I'll tape to the front of Carl here, so I can use a touch screen to schedule pallets. I've actually already started on that. I worked on that project like a year ago, but I need to get back to it and kind of refresh it and make sure everything's working. So this video may have been a hot mess, and I apologize for that. At this point, I'm just getting started in the Mongo project. Realistically, there are months before it is a fully functional, usable system. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of money. And at this point, the only thing I really can do is tinker to figure out what I don't know so that I can learn those things before I start implementing the system. It'll take me a while to really get my head wrapped around all the problems. The software will take me a while. The hardware will take me a while. There'll be a bunch of money that I'll have to spend over time. I suspect this is about a $6,000 project on top of the $4,000 robot. But growth eats cash for breakfast, and once this is up and running, it will really give me some more freedom to get away from the mill more, have it run overnight, have it run without me, and that'll be a big win for Audacity. If you need parts made for your robot or parts made on a robot, check out subtractmanufacturing.com and we can get you parts. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.